Board and we'll get. All right. Hey, friends, thanks so much for being here tonight. I have a personal friend of mine, Renee, hailing all the way from the area near Philadelphia, Philly. She runs a wonderful, wonderful quick plug, Renee, a wonderful conference called the Rich Thinking Conference. I was able to attend it in Philadelphia 2 years ago in October, and unfortunately, I missed it in 2025. But hopefully, October 2nd,
Mhm.
2026. I'm hoping to be there in Philadelphia. She runs an amazing conference on personal development and growth and brings in a wide variety of speakers on everything from enlightenment to leadership all over the board. So, quick plug for anybody looking to grow. She has an awesome conference that she runs with her dear friend Mitzi, and it's
Mhm.
worth going to. It's a great day, and it's at a casino, so you can hang out afterwards. And it's just a room full of people who are looking to grow. So, sorry, Renee, I didn't mean to plug it so soon, but I mean, I love it. So, rock and
It
roll on
doesn't
that.
matter to me.
Yeah.
I love sharing about it because it's such a special event.
Mhm.
And if we do have people come in from other states, like California, people have flown in from Texas. People flew, obviously, Phil flew in for the day and left. So
I
that's,
did.
yeah, he did. I was like, you've got to be kidding me that you're doing that.
Uh,
He, but I hope we made it worth it. It sounds like we did
oh
for you,
yeah,
Phil. And, moving forward, just knowing who you are and what you're about. We love having you in that community. It keeps growing, and it's really exciting because we don't have much of that in Philadelphia. I've traveled, Phil knows we've traveled far and wide to go to events that are in person, to get these experiences because you really can't match the energy that you get by being in a room with people
for sure.
and feeding off of their energy and collectively raising the vibration of the whole room. So thank you for coming to that. And
Of
yes,
course.
October 2nd, shameless plug, Philadelphia, it's a Friday. And we have some really cool stuff happening this year, different than last year. So I'm excited, and the year before. So it keeps growing, and thank you for that.
Heck yeah, of course. It's on my calendar, penciled in. The only way I'm not making it is if a gig comes up and I can't tell my wife that I'm missing out on a
I
paycheck.
I hear you.
But guys, this is again my friend Renee, though. She's got a huge amount of experience, 24 years in the world of speech path. She knows education well. She's big on personal development, mindset, the works, loves communication. And I asked her to come on to talk a little bit about just the world of confidence, how we dip our toe in kind of becoming more of who we were meant to be. And when I asked her about this, she's like, oh, this is perfect. I love talking about how confidence starts with the mind. So, first of all, Renee, thanks for being here. Second of all, Renee, feel free to add anything about who you are or where you're from in that to
Sure.
give us a better picture. And then from there, I'd love to start getting into it. Like, why is it important for us to feel more confident? And tell me a little bit more about this whole idea where it starts in our mind. Let's go for it.
Okay, so Rosalie and Trish, I don't know if the other gentleman's still here. I don't see him. But I thank you for being here. This is a testament to your support of your group and also your desire. Oh, there he is. Hi, Chris. Your desire to, know a little bit more about confidence. It's just like a little taste test of what I kind of workshop on with people, but it's definitely something that it took me a long time to realize that I thought I was confident, but I really wasn't. And that took, the what this faux confidence took me through was going through, all the schooling, getting the good grades, being an athlete, getting married, having my kids, doing all the stuff that like society says that is the right way to go. But then I hit a point when I turned 41, and it was during the pandemic, and I had this revelation that I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. It really kind of hit me in the face. I didn't know. I feel like I hit all these kind of goals in my life and milestones, but I was feeling empty inside. And I didn't know why. So I started diving into personal development, and that's how I met Phil and all the other people that are kind of in my ecosystem at this point that I never would have met otherwise, but are amazing humans. So, um, it took me a while to realize that I wasn't really that confident because when I stepped into like kind of a new arena, I didn't really know how to have conversations with people that were outside of academics. Does that make sense? So like, the everyday I'm a speech therapist, so we talk about IEPs and language and articulation and all these things, and that's kind of my how what I know how to speak about. I don't really know how to speak about anything else, right? So it took me that to kind of hit me in the head and say, hey, the second half of my life, I want to be confident. I want to help other people be confident. And it all starts with what you think of yourself and what thoughts you're choosing to remain in your mind. And I don't know if you guys actually thought about this before because I never did. I never thought, what am I thinking and is it serving me? Ever. And for my own like revelation, I was like, well, why didn't they teach me this in school? Like, well, I went through all this school and I don't know anything about the mind. So I proceeded to kind of deep dive into it and I developed children's programs based on confidence and other types of mindset, in the mindset world topics. And I felt like I was able to speak more confidently when I was feeding myself thoughts that were serving me. And there is science behind this. This is not the woo fairy dust stuff. It's, your thoughts affect your confidence. Like if you haven't thought about it, you're going to start thinking about it, right? So if you think you aren't good enough at something, your brain is going to start looking for proof. Your thoughts shape how you see yourself and really what you believe you can do. So like if we're remembering past mistakes or assuming other people are judging us, which everyone is, PS, by the way. So you could be, Jesus on earth or, and people are still going to talk shit on you. Like does it, that those kind of outside factors are just noise. There's always going to be someone who is judging or doesn't approve or doesn't think you know as much as you do, but really that's a reflection of them. So, when you kind of put yourself in that position of saying, like, I'm going to do this and I don't really care. It's not about not caring per se, but I'm not going to let what they say affect me because I'm very confident in who I am. Because if your thoughts are saying, oh, I wonder what they're thinking, or I wonder if I'm doing this right, it chips away your confidence. But if you think you're capable on the other end of the spectrum, even if you're still learning something like I am, I feel like I'm constantly learning about this stuff. Um, my brain and your brain is going to look for, reasons to back that up too. So it goes both ways. And I heard something the other day or maybe I saw it on socials, something about if we're always thinking like we're perseverating on things that might go wrong, why aren't we perseverating on all the things that are right? Why aren't we doing the opposite? It doesn't make sense, but it does when you think about our society and how we are kind of programmed negatively. Whether you're watching the news, like Phil, you said you don't watch the weather, you don't, I don't really either. My kids are excited about the snow, so they told me, but that could kind of put a damper on me. I'm supposed to go skiing this weekend, and now I'm not going to probably go. Oh, that's going to sink. We're going to have to cancel the hotel, and blah blah blah. Like, and your mind just keeps going. But when we really think about what we are programming into ourselves, the same way we program negativity is the same way we program positivity. And it's not the toxic positivity like, oh, be happy and everything's great. It's not like that, but it's you really feel that way inside because your thoughts create your reality. And confidence doesn't come from being perfect and happy all the time. It comes from choosing thoughts that support you, not shrink you. So I want you guys to think for a second of a thought that you kind of think of the thoughts as seeds that we're pouring into our mind garden, right? We can plant seeds of I can't, uh, they're better than me, I'm not doing it right, and we can plant those seeds, but what grows then, right? What grows? Weeds in the form of anxiety, doubt, frustration. that's what grows. And it doesn't really need any um, if you think about flowers, they need water, sunlight, food. Weeds don't need anything to grow. Did you ever see them growing in the middle of a sidewalk?
They're always
They're
growing.
growing through cement. They don't need that much nourishment. And I always like to compare them to our negative thoughts. They don't need much to grow. But what does need nurturing is our thoughts of optimism, right? Planting seeds of I can do this. I haven't done it yet. I will try it hard. I'm going to get it better. And what does that manifest in? It manifests in thoughts of optimism and peace and contentment. It's not rocket science, but it's not as well known or practiced as it should be.
Mm.
We live in a very negative society.
Hmm.
They thrive off of, who got shot and where the fire is. And did you hear this person has cancer? And they are talking about these things. And what that's doing is programming us fear, lack. So, what we want to do is turn any kind of weeds that we're allowing in there to we want to rip those out and we want to plant flowers. So here's just a little thing I want to do with you, and you don't need to write anything down. I want you to think of a thought that you typically have that's either a limiting belief or just negative about yourself. Just think of one. And if you want to share, great. If you don't, I believe it's okay. But if you would like to share, we can do that. So don't be shy here. We have a little comfy group, so I think we all probably think similar thoughts that aren't serving us. But I'm not good enough, or they can do that, but I can't. All of those limiting beliefs do not serve us, and they're not going to cause us to be confident. They're going to do in fact, the opposite.
Hmm.
So does anyone want to share their limiting belief? Or yes, Phil.
So I know that sometimes when I walk into a room to keynote, especially for administrators, people that are running these huge districts, and I
Mhm.
think, who am I? Sometimes I think this before I walk on the stage. Who am I? I taught for 20 years, but I was never an administrator. Who am I to come in and suggest to them how to live their life? But how I explain it is so simple and not profound, but actually very just raw and vulnerable and sincere. And
Mhm.
sometimes I fear, is this backed up enough? Is this doctoral level enough for that to qualify me being there? But obviously I push through, and in the end, the what I get back from that group often is, overwhelming. I didn't realize how much I needed this.
Mhm.
Thank you. But in that moment, that doubt always comes in the back of my mind. Like, who am I, random Phil, to fly out here and pour into these super important people when I'm just a normal guy? So I would say that's a huge limiting belief sometimes I have in my head right before I go on.
I have so many things to say about that, but I'm going to let other people because I have that just I can unpack that for you in a hot second. But does anybody else have one that maybe is like comes to you when you hear, um,
I have
something?
similar things like that too. Like I'll be giving a presentation to somebody that I think, do I have the right to even do, like I'm talking to educators from all over the world in Spain in a couple months. And I'm just like, okay, it was really exciting at first, but now I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think it's going to be great, but at the same time I'm like, you know, I know until like I've been working on what you're talking about for a long time, Renee. So I'm much better about it. But I feel like my first inclination before I kind of get through that is always like, what am I thinking? Who am I to do this? So,
Imposter
that kind of
syndrome.
imposter syndrome thing. And I know better now because I know how, but it still comes up for me. So if you have like a little tool, like I do a breathing thing and stuff, but if you
Oh,
have a
sure.
little tool or something,
Yes. Yes.
I would definitely be open to that.
My tool is it's going to make you laugh because it's very simple. And that's like kind of like how I'm speaking to you. You're all educators, or I think you're all educators. And if you're not, it's okay. But you guys, the imposter syndrome is real. And I remember one time someone telling me, because I've spoken on stages like Phil, and the biggest stage I ever spoke on was with like all these famous people, and I don't even know what. I walked out and I was like, who am I to be doing this? And when I mentioned it to my friend, he goes, Renee, if you don't have imposter syndrome, that means you belong here. And I was like, oh, he's like, if you're too confident, like that's the opposite of imposter syndrome. Like you feeling that is real and it's okay to feel that way. But let me ask you guys something. When you go to see someone, do you ever wonder why they're up there?
Mm.
No,
No.
right? You're never like, oh, I wonder why, he's taught for 20 years, but I'm an administrator. Why am I listening to this guy? Like, no one thinks that way. So I think when you think of it that way, and some people might love what you're talking about, some people are going to hate what you're talking about. Who gives a crap? The people who are aligned with you will love it. And that's all, those are the people you want to be associated with. You don't want to be associated with the negative Nancy's in the room. They're the opposite of who we want to hang out with because they bring our vibe down. We allow their thoughts to absorb into ours, like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not smart enough. Oh, I shouldn't be the one on stage. Well, yes, you should. And being on stage, some people, what is the quote that some people would rather die than speak in public?
Mm.
Like it is like really not an easy thing to do. So when you're there, both of you, and you're up there, know that you belong there. That some will, some won't, somewhat, right? You were there for a reason. You were hired or whatever the setup is for a reason. And if one of those people wanted to do that, they could too, right? There's something for everybody here. The universe is endless and does not have any kind of lack. It's all in abundance. So when I think about that, when I think like right here, when I speak to people on Zoom, like some people are going to love it. Some people are going to say, I already know this. Some people are going to, say, oh, Renee, she sounds so nasally. I can't listen to her. And it's fine. It's really fine. It is what it is. So what I want to raise your awareness to, and what time is it? Oh my God, I could talk to you guys all night.
Oh, you're
Um,
good.
so what I want you to raise your awareness to is the growth cycle of confidence. And it's very simple. There's 4 steps. The first one is awareness, right? Thinking about your thoughts. It's called metacognition. So what you want to do is really be aware. Sometimes you're on autopilot. Well, a lot of people are on autopilot. Like that's what our subconscious does. That's how we breathe and when we sleep at night, that's how our body still goes, right? We're completely shut down, but our body's still going. So awareness of your thoughts is really important. And the way I've done this in the past is writing them down, just like we just did now, is writing them down because you're going to forget. We have a lot going on. So if you really want to track what you're thinking, take a couple minutes a day and write down exactly how you're like what you're thinking because your thoughts are going to affect your feelings. So especially if you're not feeling that great, like if you're down or you're annoyed, think about you have to go back, right? You have to reverse engineer because you're feeling a certain way, but your thoughts are causing that. So you want to kind of reverse engineer that. Okay. Then if you're having it, like let's say the impact, right? I'm not good enough. Let's use that as the negative thought. You write that down. I'm not good enough. Well, you know what you do? You interrupt that and you decide to replace it with something that's true and encouraging. I am a good speaker and I know what I'm talking about and I belong on that stage, right? So you raise awareness like we just did with your thought of the imposter syndrome, whatever that looks like. You stop it, you replace it, then you repeat it. Because repetition, as we all know, creates new patterns in our brains. It's the way we learned everything. So if we can learn about the Pythagorean theorem, we can learn how to do our thoughts so they serve us because confidence isn't a personality trait, it's a pattern. We're not born with it. Yeah, we might act more confident as kids because we don't have the awareness we have as adults. Like when you think about when you're a kid, you'll try mostly anything. Well, most kids will try they're not embarrassed by trying a new thing. Why is that? Because they haven't been fed all this crap from the outside at that point. They're like, no, I'm going to try that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
We kind of lose that in adulthood, don't we?
Mm.
For worry about what others think, for worrying about if I'm going to fail. Who cares if you fail? If you fail, you're learning. Failure is information. And by golly, if you're trying anything and failing, you are already ahead of the game of people that are just staying in their comfort zone and let them say something about it. Well, the reason why they're talking down about you is because they're below you.
Mm.
So let's go there for a second, right? Let's remember that the most majority of society is negative and judgmental. But we can choose not to listen to that,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
You guys,
I think
yeah, go
about like
ahead.
our negative mindset, right? We're wired that way. And evolution wise, it's valuable in some ways because it keeps us alive.
Hmm.
100,000 years ago, that was a big deal because when we lived in fear and we focused and remembered the bad stuff, we were more likely to survive and keep our species going. But now, in a world that's much safer than ever before compared to what it was, even 300 years ago, we're still wired that way with our brain. So I guess my question is, I know like physically that's what my brain wants to do. How do I start changing that pattern so that I can start seeing more of the good or positives to
Hmm.
allow myself to plant, like you said, those seeds, not the weeds, but
Hmm.
like to create a flourishing mental garden?
Well, I think the most important thing is to realize that now that you're aware of it, you can't be unaware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the awareness is the beginning of everything. So when you're feeling like, and you're gonna, like I said, Phil, like you're gonna feel a certain way when you're having those negative thoughts, your body, everything like kind of diminishes, like changes. So if you go back to, God, what am I thinking about? Oh, you know what? I was hard on myself about wanting to start writing my book or whatever it is you're trying to do. That's not serving you. That's going to make you feel less confident about writing the book or whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? We have to be our own best friend. And when you figure out that you're feeling a certain way, because you won't feel your body is gonna is a signal. It's gonna tell you that you're not thinking the right thoughts, and it's gonna be someone like me, the past 2 days I've been a little sick, and I'm like, oh, when is this gonna be over? I can't breathe, like, and I had to stop myself because I was almost calling it into existence. I was like, my sickness is gonna spread. It's gonna take longer for me to heal because my thoughts are not serving me right now. So it does affect everything. But Phil, for you, like, I mean, I'm probably already gonna, preach to the choir about affirmations and things like that, the science behind purposely programming your mind in a certain way. And it could look like you waking up every day and saying the same four things to yourself before you get out of bed.
Mm.
That starts you off on the right way. I want you guys all to look. Mel Robbins. I was going to actually do this tonight with you. She is incredible, and she has a podcast, and she did a like the 8 things you should say to yourself every day, and they were different than usual. And I really liked what she said. I could actually, because I write them. It's so funny. They're right here. Like I write them down every day. So if you want them, I'll give them to you. Would you like them?
Okay, I am obsessed with Mel. That is one of my favorite episodes. And the thing that I loved best is that you wake up and you say, today is going to be a great day. Today is the day that magic is going to happen because the reticular activating system is going to filter out the things that are not important and filter in the things that are important. It is such a great episode. BFFs, and my life goal is to be on her podcast. So you just wait. I'm
Oh,
going to
I
be
love
going to
them.
Boston soon to be on her podcast. You just got to give me a little bit of time, okay?
I have a bracelet that says let them. But that's true. So that kind of is aligned with what we're talking about, right? With your confidence. If they think a certain way, let them. If they don't like how you're doing things and they say something, let them. Let
People think
them.
I'm delusional, but guess what? My word for 2026 is delusional. It actually is. I'm like, I will be on Mel Robbins. You just give me some time. And
Oh,
if they're like, she's crazy, I'm like, great.
then you're on the right
I
path if they think you're crazy.
great. What do you
That's the
say?
right path.
Phil, what do you say? You have like a something something of self-confidence. It's like delusionally self-confident. What is it? Because I'm the same.
Yeah, I have, I have delusional self-confidence.
Me
Yeah,
too.
that's why we're besties.
I love it. I love it. So Rosalie gave us the first one. Today's going to be a great day. It sounds so easy, right? But when you wake up and you say that, and I have to tell you, Rosalie, I don't know if this is working for you, but it has worked for me. And I've done affirmations for years. Like, but this, when she, I guess, like, I respect Mel so much, and she comes from, like, she was like bankrupt like 9 years ago. Like, so like it's not like she's been this privileged human her whole life, but she's very real. So if you ever get a chance to listen to her or go see her, she's just a real human that gives really great personal information out that helps her. So the first one, okay, the second one is something cool is going to happen to me today. That's like my favorite one out of the all eight of them, because since I've started doing this, something cool has happened every day.
Mm,
And not maybe I wouldn't have noticed how cool it was before until I put in my reticular activating system that something cool is going to happen today.
that's
And
cool.
just
Like every
the
day, maybe it's already been happening, but you never noticed it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That or just like thinking like, oh, like that was really cool. Like this person at the grocery store like saw I was struggling with something and just took care of it for me. Like it's like something silly like that, but you usually and I'm always looking for universal signs and cosmic connections, and now that you're aware of something like that, then you should be looking for that stuff, right? Okay, so the third one is no matter what happens today, I can handle it.
Mm.
That's a good one too. They're all good, but they are so fun when you actually do it. And now I don't read them anymore. And now I lay in bed and I say them in my head. I had to like memorize them. Um, okay, the next one is an exciting chapter in my life is starting today. Because who doesn't want to think that, right? It's a great way to think. I need to give myself more credit for how hard I'm trying. We're all trying. We're all trying, and we don't give ourselves enough credit. We,
Sometimes my 13-year-old, I feel like could still try a little harder.
well, yes, yes, yes. Your third, my children as well. Yes.
Sorry, keep going.
No, that's okay. The next one is I'm allowed to be a work in progress,
Mm,
giving yourself permission to be where you are in that moment. Okay. And then if I keep showing up, life will reward me.
mhm.
And then I have an important contribution to make to the world. So when you kind of you could take just three of those and do them every day, and it'll make a difference. It'll make a difference. So Phil, I guess that's like my long-winded answer for you is filtering what you allow to stay in your mind.
Yeah.
Because
No,
negative, we're going to be negative. Like it's impossible not to be, but what is possible and what we have the choice over is what we allow to remain in there.
yeah, no, it's well said. And I tell you what, 8 years ago, if you would have told me this, I would have been like, "This is so woo-woo and
Yeah.
corny." But
Yeah.
I mean, I do believe it, and I've seen the science behind it. When you say affirmations to yourself, yeah, you're more likely to see it and look for it. And Chris could get real weird in the world of entanglements when you're putting the energy out there and with your RAS system. But yeah, it is true. Like we find what we seek, and if we tell our brain what to look for, and some years in the classroom, I had to reprogram my brain when I walked into the class that I was going to look for the good in my students, not the annoying things that kids will always do. That's just what kids are. But instead of
Mhm.
looking for that, I look for the good stuff. And there's so many things every day I could find from teenagers that were beautiful. They would ask me about my family. They would notice when I wasn't feeling well and check on me. It was like, but if I wasn't looking for it, I could so easily miss it. And what a gift to miss out on when you're not looking for the good in people, because everybody has it in them. You just got to look for it.
Where, and it's very easy to look for bad things and we
Yeah.
find them, right? Really quickly. So why can't it be that the other way, the other side of the coin? Why? Why is that, right? Why aren't we constantly looking for that? And a good way to describe the RAS, the reticular activating system, is if you're in a big crowd, did you ever hear someone say something that sounds like your name, but maybe it's not? And you're like, who's calling me? So your name is something that you have been trained to seek when
Mm.
you're out. Someone calls you, you're automatically looking, right? So that's a good way to describe what the reticular activating system does. It makes you recognize in all the other noise the important things, the things you're looking for.
Mm. I love that. I know I'm watching our time as we're getting
I
close.
know, I know. Okay, it's nine.
What was the eighth one? Can I ask that really
Yes.
quick?
I think the last one. So I have an important contribution to make to the world.
Mm. I like that. I'm thinking whether we're stepping out of our comfort zone and trying something new, whether we're applying for jobs and going to interviews. I think confidence helps us so much because it allows us to put our true self forward. So I think everything you've said, from affirmations to trying to not to seek the negative but to seek the good, I think can
Mhm.
really psych us up for whatever those next chapters are, like you said from Mel, whatever that next chapter is in your book. I think
Mhm.
that's such a powerful reminder. And I appreciate you bringing that up because it's so easy for us to just go through life habitually, just in our routines. And sometimes we can accidentally get stuck in that, even if it's not super negative, but that really languishing kind of blah vibe where we're just not inspired, but not really exhausted. We're just kind of existing. This can really, I think, turn a corner for us. So I really appreciate you bringing this up.
Absolutely. I could talk about it all day. And if you're a parent, especially, it's important for you to, us, I should say, because I'm a parent too, to model this stuff for our kids. We can't give them what we don't have.
Yeah.
So if you are thinking all these negative things, you're probably saying them and little ears are hearing them.
Mm,
And we are their guide. And there's some things about us that we can't really change, like I think about my parents and how I'm different than them because I made a choice to be different than them.
mm,
But that's your first role models, right? You're whoever's caring for you. So if that's the example that we're setting, well, we can't be surprised when our kids are doing the same thing, and no one wants their kid to feel that.
mm. Well said. Renee,
Yeah.
thank you. It's like opened up so many ideas in my head. I appreciate it. That's why I love these. When we bring guest speakers on with new ideas and thoughts, it just gets things moving and churning, helps me reflect on my life. I'm grateful for your time. Couple quick questions. First of all, how can we support you and keep in touch with you? And then I also want to talk about your Rich Thinking Conference once again. Maybe we all need to go. October 2nd, party in Philadelphia,
Dude,
casino. Let's go.
yeah.
But how
Yeah.
can we support you and keep in touch with you, Renee?
Just follow me and on Instagram I'm at Renee double underscore VEE.
Perfect. And
That's
I'll
kind of
put that
where
in our recap email too, so people can get in touch with you that
I
way.
love hanging out on Instagram. I think it's a great place. I mean, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn as well, but Instagram is just easy for me. It's like not a lot of information. It's just like fun and seeing pictures and reading things. So I really like that platform. The Rich Thinking Conference the website is richthinking.org. So
Mhm.
if you're interested in kind of following Mitzi and I's path, for that or getting updates about right now, I don't know if it's updated because we have till October and we've just launched a anthology book. So we're interviewing authors, and that's all stuff that will be on the website eventually.
Mhm.
Um, but we've just signed on some pretty big players to be in the book, so I'm really excited about that. Just gathering those thoughts from people, rich thoughts we call them, right? Rich thinking, rich thoughts, into a book, kind of like a manual for people. So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, just follow me. email me, Renee at reneevee.com.
Mhm.
We can meet outside of this and chat further. I would love it. But other than that, that's yeah. Find me on all the socials so I can follow you too.
I love it. Renee, we'll do a recap email and I'll put all your contact so it's easy for people to get in touch with you. I'll put in there, save the date. I know that, yeah, your website isn't updated yet because it's so far out still, but October 2nd, Philadelphia. I'm going to try my hardest to be there. The
Yes.
first one I attended was so great. I'm looking forward to it. It's a beautiful Friday in October in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
Really cool venue and location. And for me, it's an easy flight from Chicago. So
Sure. Yeah.
beautiful. But I really appreciate your time. And also, if anyone's interested, you're doing an anthology book with many chapter books, and every author writes a different chapter. So if anyone is interested in potentially looking into becoming author with other people, Renee and her dear friend Mitzi are kind of vetting that right now, correct? Doing interviews to see if it's the right fit. So
Mhm.
Renee might be a great person to get in touch with if you're looking to create a collaborative book on development in that too. So might be a cool opportunity for you with Renee.
Yeah, it'll definitely expose you to all the other authors' audiences, which is so cool. And if you haven't written a book or even thought about it, it's a great way to kind of start that process is by writing a chapter in an anthology. That's
Mhm.
how I wrote in two. And it was so great for me because then I know that I'm able to write my own book, right? Because I've contributed to two of these anthologies, but I've met the coolest people. So if you want to talk to me about that, just contact me on and we can talk further about that.
All right. Well, Renee, I'm going to hit officially the unrecord button or stop button. And thank you
Okay.
so much for everything.